starts with understanding. So in both cases, listening is the key. The more you listen, the more you speak. The more you listen, the more you understand. This is the criteria. Okay. Now we'll come to the theories of the language. That is planting the seeds of language. Planting the seeds of language is very essential and very important for the language. As you know that if you understand any language, which means that the language of these is planted in your brain. And how do you plant the seeds of any language? Through this, writing a text, reading a text, and listening to it. Okay. So, anybody among you would read this one? Yes, which language is this? Any idea?
Japanese.
Japanese? No. Anyone else?
Spanish?
No, it's not Spanish.
Germany?
German? No. This is language is called Bahasa. What is Bahasa? That's called Indo-Malay language. Indonesian and Malaysian language known as Bahasa. Clear? Okay. Now, which language is this?
Could not.
Yes, which language is this? At least try. Yeah, very good. We have
Is
the
it
answer
Spanish,
from
sir?
B. Yeah, Tafsina, French. French is the correct answer. Very good. Okay. French is the correct answer. I hope nobody would give me anything. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes. Which language is this? I didn't think so that nobody would confuse.
Tamil,
It's
sir. Tamil.
Tamil. Very good.
Tamil.
So this question I should not ask to you people. What about this language?
Sir, is it Bengali?
Bengali. Very good. What about this?
Sir, is it Spanish?
It is French. Okay. Now coming to again this one. Now tell me, which language is this?
Bahu.
Bahasa.
Bahasa. Okay. Now this one?
French.
French.
Okay. This one Tamil. This one Bengali.
Bengali.
And this one?
French.
The French.
Now rewind yourself 2 minutes earlier. If you don't know about any language, which means that the seeds of that particular language is not planted in your brain. But now, when you realize the text of this language, at least you planted the seeds of language. Why I have put Tamil into this one? The reason is Tamil is like a fruitful tree in your brain. The seeds of Tamil language already planted in your brain. Now it turned to be fruitful tree. Same cases with the language. You can understand maybe you feel difficult in these two language. Some of them they understand, and you can guess with this language. Okay, the reason why, because if you have little idea about this language, which means that they have planted the concern of this language. Okay, so today inshallah we will discuss about the Arabic language. What do you understand about Arabic language? I'll tell you inshallah. In Arabic language, what we actually know about the Arabic language is completely different. Okay, so let me take you to the journey of lexical similarity. What is lexical similarity? I think I've told you earlier. What is lexical similarity? Lexical similarity about the language is this one. Let's say we have the European languages in lexical similarity. If somebody knows Italian, now you can understand how many percentage they could understand from other languages. If you know Italian, so how much percentage do you know in Spanish language? It's almost 82%. So the lexical similarity between Spanish and Italian is all about 82%. What about Portuguese? 80. What about French? 89. What about Romanian? 77. Catalan? 87, 78, 85. Now we know English language, okay? So if you know English language, you understand 27% of French and 60% of German and 24% of Russian. So these are the European languages. Clear? If you know any of them, like Spanish, so this is the criteria. If you know Portuguese, this is the criteria. Why it is so? Because every language has similarities between the words. So if you understand one language, it would help you to earn another language. So in planting the seeds of language, how many of you know the plantation of this language? Okay, let's come to this one. So Alhamdulillah, for Quran, we have translation of in so many languages. Let's say this is the French translation. How it looks, as we know that, we'll take the example of Surah Fatiha. Now this is the French language. So when you realize this one, any language, you could know what is the relativity of this language. Like with say French, at least you can go through the text so that the plantation process of language will start in your brain by looking at the text, reading the text and listening to it. After French, we go for the Spanish. Now look at the Spanish. What we learn about the lexical similarity, don't you feel they are same? This is Spanish and that was French. Imagine the process of starting the planting of seeds when we know this translation. This is English translation or this is Spanish and French translation. When you heard this sentence, when you read this sentence, which means that you totally agree, the translation would be from Spanish. The translation would be from French. What does it mean? It means that this is the process of translating the or understanding the language. Now look at the Portuguese translation. This is the Portuguese translation. Okay, these are the European languages. Let's come to our own languages, our Indian languages. In Indian language, mashallah, you know all of you Tamil. How about Telugu? How many of you know about Telugu? So when you come to the language of Telugu or any other language, you would relate to this one that we are something related to this language. Like we could say Bengali translation. How many of you are able to read this language? Maybe we don't know this language, but at least by seeing the text, we can relate to it. Okay. This is Marathi translation. Those who know Hindi, they can able to read Marathi. And those who read Marathi language, they can easily understand Hindi language. When you go through every language of the world, you can easily understand this is the version. Now, since all of you know the Tamil language, I hope this language will be easy for you because Telugu and Tamil share kind of lexical similarity between them. If you know Tamil, you could easily understand Telugu. Maybe you're unable to read the Telugu, but at least when you relate to it, it has some same phonetics. Okay. Now coming to the point, with respect to the language of Arabic. Okay, how many of you are able to read this language? You know Urdu language? This is Arabic. But this is not the Arabic what you see in Quran. But in Quran you have Arab, Harakat. What about this one? Anybody among you would read this one? Yes. Anybody among you would read this one?
Aqsamul Maktaba.
Naam Sheikh, mashallah. Yes. And all this,
أقسام المكتبات.
no, the correct version. Okay, let's go to this one. Okay, now you able to read this one? Yes. Anybody would read this one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
الحمد لله رب العالمين قوم السماوات والأرض مدبر مدبر الخلائق أجمعين باعث الرسل صلواته وسلامه عليهم على المكلفين لهدايتهم وبيان شرائع الدين بالدلائل القطعية وواضحات البراهين أحمده على جميع نعمه وأسأله المزيد من فضله وكرمه
Mashallah.
وأشهد
Now
أن
you can try this way. The same paragraph.
So this one,
What is the difference that you feel into this one? First, we
yes,
have
harkats.
harakat.
Yeah,
Okay, now without harakat.
harkat.
So the actual Arabic language is without harakat.
Okay, sir.
Actually, Quran was without harakat, but this has been given the harakat because of non-Arabic speakers. So the actual language of Arabic without harakat. So if somebody knows Arabic language, he has to read or she has to read without any mistake, without this harakat. Sounds clear to you? So this is all about planting the seeds of language. The more you read the language, the more you listen to the language, the more you understand the text of the language, you start planting the seeds of language. Now realize how many languages do you know with respect to this one. You can realize of each and every language, your seeds of this particular language is related to that. So if you would like to increase the ability of learning the language, you start planting the seeds of reading, planting the seeds of listening, and planting the seeds of hearing. Now, I'll play a sound for you that's in Arabic language. You can maybe at least for 2 seconds or 10 seconds, and you can relate to me. Okay, you can't hear? Just
رسوله
now.
فهجرته إلى أمتهم. رواه مسلم. الحديث الثامن. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: أمرت أن أقاتل الناس حتى يشهدوا أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمدا رسول الله ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة، فإن فعلوا ذلك عصموا مني دماءهم وأموالهم، وأحللت الحلال وحرمت الحرام، ولم أزد على ذلك شيئا. أأدخل الجنة؟ قال: نعم. رواه مسلم. ومعنى حرمت الحرام اجتنبته، ومعنى أحللت
Okay, how many of you would understand anything out of it? Yes, anybody would go? Yes, please. I think I'm unable to hear you, man. Now, coming to the point, yes, why can't understand it? Maybe if you read the Quran, if you listen to the Quran, you may understand. But why this Arabic language you unable to understand? What's the reason?
So we are not used to this.
Exactly. So which means that the process of planting the seeds of Arabic language, it's not actually with a brain. So if you would like to learn the language, you have to understand the plantation process is that you have to plant the seeds of any language. Now you would realize how many languages any of us would know this one. So they already have, alhamdulillah, good plantation in their brain. So if you increase this plantation of any language, so if you would like to learn any language, starting from the scratch, you just starting the planting seeds in your brain. You just listen to any language without translation, without subtitles. You just read the text and you just listen to it because reading is difficult. But you know what? If you know English language, you are able to read almost 120 languages of the world, which means that this is the criteria of any language. So if you would like to plant any language of the world, you can start with listening and you can start with reading the text if you're able to do. So this is all about the language consideration in which you have understand the concept of learning the language. Now, when you realize that how many languages you able to understand, you able to know, you can relate to it. So maybe in 5 minutes, we can relate to this language. How many languages among you would understand? Like, who is the most multilingual person among you people? Can I have the numbers of languages you know among you people?
Yours 10.
So,
Yes, sir.
You know 10 language. Most
Yeah,
of us
able to
know.
speak. I able to speak at least 10 language, but not all the same level. These are all of the different levels.
so I can speak Tamil, Hindi, and English. Three
Okay.
languages.
Okay, very good. Mashallah. Who have got the 5 languages?
Sir, myself, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead. Which language do you know?
Tamil, English, Hindi, Urdu, and Malayalam.
Malayalam. Very good.
Yes,
But do
sir.
you know the difference between Hindi and Urdu?
Uh,
I'll give very
I,
interesting point to you.
sir.
I'll give very interesting point to you.
Okay, sir.
There is a point in which Hindi and Urdu are same.
Yes.
And if you go further deeper into this language, then both are different.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Both
Hindi
are
and
different.
Urdu are
Okay.
different. Many things are different in these two things.
Okay. So I'll give one sentence to you. You can translate into Hindi and Urdu. Okay. Like Prime Minister oath taking ceremony. Prime Minister's oath taking ceremony. Can you please translate into Hindi and Urdu?
प्रधानमंत्री ने शपथ ग्रहण किया. This is Hindi, sir.
Shapat Grahan Samaro. That is ceremony.
समारोह.
Very
Yes,
good.
yes.
What about the Urdu? Yes, what about the Urdu? Taqreeb, Barai,
Do not know, sir. Do not know.
Halfnama, Wazir Azam. Clear? So, do you understand the difference between these two? At one point, both Hindi and English are same. But if you go further deeper into this one, Urdu actually the version of Persian and Arabic. And Hindi is the version of Sanskrit. Sounds clear to you? Okay, one more fun fact of the language. The more deeper language you understand, your intellectual will be very high. Let me give you the idea. English, Hindi, and Urdu are the easiest language of the world. Let me repeat once again. English, Hindi, Urdu are the easiest language of this world. Whereas other language would be difficult. Now imagine those who are great thinkers, those who are great personalities, and those who have done a lot in the literature, those who have done a lot into the teaching and learning and understanding the people in a very vast way. You may relate to it. They know any language not into this list. Like how many of you would understand they are the great thinkers and great philosophers and great people with respect to their intellectuals from Tamil? Many people, isn't it? Why? Because the hardwired of this Tamil language is much more difficult than Hindi, than English. The people from China, the people from Japan, they are more intellectuals than those who merely speak English language. Why? Because English language is varies in comparison to Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, and all other South Asian languages and European languages. So what does it mean? It means simple that the easier the language you have, the more intellectual way you have. So what is the criteria for this one? If you have the good language, if you have the great language, that will impact your brain as well. That's the reason behind it. If you understand Arabic language, if you learn Arabic language, your level of intellectual will be very high. It doesn't mean that English language, Hindi and Urdu language are not into this one. That's the reason behind this. If English related to Greek and Latin, if Hindi is related to Sanskrit, and Urdu is related to Persian and Arabic, the level of your language and the level of your intellectual will be very high. So this is all about the language. Jazakallah khair, barakallah fikum, ahsanallahu alaikum. I just would like to give the consideration to you people about the understanding of language. And this will really help you in the journey of your language. So Jazakallah khair, barakallah fikum, ahsanallahu alaikum, shukran.
Sir, I got a doubt. How a student of 12 years,
Yes.
how many languages he can learn up to the age of 12?
Okay, very good question, sir, with respect to this one. Look, we have multi-state people, like somebody in Tamil in Chennai, he is learning Tamil from the school. If his parents are both from different states, like one is Malayali and another is Marathi. So 3 languages in a zone and English. So in this case, 4 languages would be the part of this country, the student. Where if you develop this language, as you know that Noam Chomsky, the great psychologist of America, which is known as father of modern linguistics, he says that every person able to understand any language of the world, you just have to decode the language process in your brain. If you start decoding the process, so no matter what, there is no criteria, because there are kind of many polyglots. They can understand, they can speak more languages in very certain age. For especially, like we can understand the Alliance French, in which you can easily start reading the or speaking in French language at early age. So it's all about the own criteria. I'll recommend 2-3 websites in which you can easily enhance your skill of other languages. So with respect to 12-year person or 12-year kid, how much or how many languages able to speak based on his criteria? Maybe it can be up to 10 languages, 15 languages, 5 languages based on his criteria. So these are the 2 great websites with respect to learning the language. I hope you understand, you know about these 2 languages, Duolingo and Memrise.
Yeah.
These are the
Then
2.
another thing, yeah.
Yes.
Then another thing, that Sarkat was adopted by whom in the Quran?
Yes.
Is
Let
it
me
Yusuf bin Hujjaj?
Yusuf bin Hajjaj, that's the one who is famous for giving the Arab.
Arab.
But actually it was Abu Aswad Duali. He colored the different color with the Arab, because the actual Quran would be completely different. Actual Quran is without Arab. I'll just give you one idea to you how the Quran looks without the Arab. Here it's the way. Now this is the Quran without
Arab.
This is the Quran without Arab.
Yeah.
We can relate to this one.
Yeah,
Surah Al-Fatiha. Alhamdulillah, everyone knows this one because we already memorized this one. What about this one?
We don't know.
The reason is that we tend to learn the language with Arab. So Arabic language is easy language when it comes to the matter of Quran. So if you would like to learn Arabic language, get into the deep learning of Arabic language. By listening to the Arabic language, the understanding the text of the language, that can enhance your skills of Arabic language. So in a basic word, the more you listen to the language, you're able to understand this language. The more you're about to read the language, you're able to understand this language. So this is the Arabic language without, look, وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. That's we know. But how we read this one? We have to know the Arabic language. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَّا. Because when we memorize, we can do it. But how about this one? Let's say this one.
Yeah.
ولا على الذين إذا ما أتوك لتحملهم قلت لا أجد ما أحملكم عليه تولوا وعينهم تفيض من الدمع حزنا ألا يجدوا ما ينفقون. So we need to know the Arabic language in order to read this one. Sounds clear to you?
Yeah.
So this is the actual version of Arabic language. We know the version that's related to for the easiness of our learning. That is with Quran Arab,
Yeah.
but the actual language is without Arab. Okay. So Jazakallah khair for your listening with so much patience. Barakallah feekum. In this session, I didn't make you to learn any language of the world, but what I did, I give you the way through which you can able to enhance your skills of language by effectively learning. So Jazakallah khair, Barakallah feekum everyone. Ahsanallahu ilaykum, shukran.
Jazakallah khair, sir. MashaAllah. Very, very interesting and inspiring session. Yes, with this